Hey everybody,
Hi guys,
how are you?
Jay and Kim here.
Ready to talk some more about our stuff. And it was a great week for us. We really enjoyed.
Rested.
Oh,
We actually had
we
7 days.
We slept. It was so great.
Jay and I haven't been on a vacation that long in about over 10 years, so we really didn't know what to do with ourselves. So we took naps.
Oh yeah,
It was great because we didn't have dogs to bother us, kids to bother us, no noise, no neighbors, no birds.
dogs jumping on the bed. Yeah, you don't know about our bird that sings all night and wakes us up, and we actually have to shut 2 doors to get the noise out so we can sleep. It's so funny.
It is funny. But tonight we want to go ahead and just talk about just kind of what I posted. I think it was Sunday or Monday. I can't remember. I think it was Monday. Just about the feeling of being happy and having, like a lot of people that I've talked to say, well, I'm not happy. I'm not happy in my marriage. My spouse doesn't make me happy, things like that. And
my kids don't do the right things, and
Right.
that I'm not happy. And it's just a lot of times we look for outside things to bring joy to us and happiness, which, there are things that do that. I love going to Disneyland. Disneyland brings me a lot of joy.
yeah, but it's just temporary joy, right?
Right. While
And
I'm there, it's
nowadays,
awesome.
they said that they just opened that new Star Wars ride, the whole Star Wars section, I guess. And they said that you can't even move in Disneyland. I would not even want to go. I wouldn't
No.
even want to go. I'm sorry. I hate crowds now. Back in the day when I was younger, I always wanted to go where all the crowds were. Now, when we were in Cabo and Puerto Vallarta, we wanted to be so far away from the crowds. We didn't even want to be near the crowds.
Right.
And so that was pretty funny. But
And Disneyland, I want to say one more thing about Disneyland being the happiest place in the world. And you know what? It really is for a short period of time. And Kimberly made a point, was about it's only temporary.
right.
Joy isn't always what we look for. Joy is what we come with.
Yeah, and I think that really Jesus gives us joy. And it's so hard to comprehend sometimes that joy that he gives us until you start reading the word and being in a relationship with him. And it's, the world always says, oh, you got to have this, you got to have that. Like, get it now. What do you call that? Self-satisfaction. It's
Right.
like right now.
Well, and it's money, and it's about money, and Kimberly and I had all that stuff. I mean, I had a Carrera Porsche. I had the truck that was the best truck around, and I put a supercharger on it. And we had a house that we just built that was $1 million house, and then we got a houseboat at Lake Powell, and we had all this stuff, and it really was fun.
And I was so unhappy. Like,
but it was just work.
I was, but inside myself, because I didn't have a relationship with Christ, I was dying. Like, I was so dark, and I was literally dying, and that's what led me to, stray from our marriage. But one thing we do want to talk about too is that when we were on our trip, we had a lot of very, God is bringing a lot of truth out for us to bring healing.
Mm-hmm.
And we want to encourage that with your spouse, if you have a spouse. But I think that a lot of people don't want to bring a lot of the stuff that's deep down out, but it really actually, when you get to the root of what's down inside, when you get down in there, it really does bring so much healing to your soul that you are just a much better person, and you can be a much better spouse, mother, father, friend, person in general.
And part of that too is that as the spouse on the other end too, the one who's having your spouse come to you with something that's really bothering them, for you to just be able to hear it and listen. And it takes a lot of your energy to open up and allow that to happen, because your spouse will never feel comfortable talking about whatever some of those things are that they just don't talk about and how they feel, because they don't feel like they can.
Right.
And, for me, with Kimberly, it was, some issues that had happened from her past. And some of it I didn't even realize. And as I was on this trip, I'm going, that just comes up for me. This stuff comes up for me all the time in different moments of our lives, and almost every day that it hurts a little, but I don't talk about it because I don't want it to be like, well, I shouldn't talk about that because this should be done. But when it comes up for me, it's better if I could say something about it and she could hear me, which was great on this trip. She could, and it really helped me go, oh, it really is no big deal. It's all something I can let go. And it helps that.
And it brings healing, yeah. And when you are struggling in marriage, it's good to talk to your spouse so you can pray together. Like Jay had posted on our Relentless Love page just yesterday, about how you should pray with your spouse, because it is a known fact, and Jay knows the statistics.
It's almost 1,000 to 1. If a married couple prays together, they stay together. And versus the 50-50 thing that we see both in and out of the church in divorce, guess what? It goes to 1,000 to 1 if you guys pray together every day.
Right.
Real prayers, hard praying for each other, praying for your family, praying for your kids. You know, it takes a while to get used to it too, though. Kimberly and I still sometimes get stuck, even though we've been doing it for years. But we try to do it every night, and it really is huge in how we look at each other, because it's really hard for me to be mad at her when I'm praying for her. You know, it's hard for me to be mad at my kids when I'm praying for them, you know, because what's the point, you know? Because
the enemy wants to steal, kill, and destroy
the joy.
Families, marriages, you know, he just does. And we have to be very, we have to walk around with our armor, you know. It's called the armor of God, and the sword of the shield and the sword, and it's the word of God that teaches us what we need to be on guard for. And when you learn scripture, you know, a lot of people are like, oh, it doesn't mean anything. It means a lot. Even the Old Testament, a lot of people don't understand, but there's so much of the Old Testament that points to the New Testament and Jesus, that it's good to understand all of it for the worship side of it as well, because there was a lot of worship involved in the Old Testament.
Oh, and that reminds me too. So one of the things that happened on this trip was, before we went, we prayed for divine appointments. You guys won't believe who sat at our dining table. We've never had this happen before. We've been on cruises. We've had people we've hung out with. And so we're sitting at this table. They're all a little bit older than us. Some of them are about my age.
One was 43
so
years
older.
married.
Yeah.
One was 44 years married. The one gentleman was 81.
Yes.
Yeah. So I mean, they've been married for a long time. Same spouse, kids, everything.
And two strong Christian couples. One of them is head of a life group, and the other one, and I'm just talking to him. So what are you doing now and stuff? And he starts talking. Yeah, he goes, I'm writing this book, and I go, oh, that's really great. What kind of book is it? He goes, well, it's a book about women from the first century. And I go, women from the first century. He goes, yeah. He goes, it's kind of like about Mary Magdalene, and how Jesus had her be the first one to discover he had risen, and how that changed how people looked at women, and it's about those first women and how it was so different in the Christian aspect of thinking, and how Jesus brought that out. And I'm going, this is so cool.
And you know what's crazy about that is that our women's retreat up in Heber Overgaard, Elizabeth spoke on that exact same subject. So there's like no accidents that this was a divine appointment for us.
Right.
And we did pray for that. Another thing that was kind of crazy is that we prayed for safety and that kind of thing. And we couldn't even leave Saturday. We got on the boat. Everybody got on the boat.
The first day.
Yep, the first day Saturday. 4 o'clock we were supposed to take off, and they couldn't move.
The boat
broke down. So they had to fly a guy in from Finland to Miami to Long Beach. So we didn't get to leave till Sunday at 2 o'clock the next day.
Right.
And we couldn't go to Mazatlan, but it was a great trip anyway. And at least we weren't out in open water and broke down. You know what I mean? That would have been crazy.
And you know what kind of thing breaks down a big boat like that? The stuff that everybody has everything break down in their computers. Software.
It was a software issue.
A large boat like that with 5,000 people on it, and they can't get it to go because there's
of
a software glitch.
Issue.
You know,
It was pretty funny.
It was funny, yeah.
But anyway, so we just wanted to thank you guys for tuning in, or those of you that are watching later. Share us. Like us, and then tag your friends that are struggling, and we'll be on every Wednesday. And then those of you that are our friends and family, church family, we are Jay wants to wave at everybody. We are renewing our vows this Sunday at 2 o'clock, and we hope you can join us. Okay.
Yeah, look forward to that.
Yep, 25 years married, and we're going strong. I mean, we've had bumps, believe me, and that's why we're sharing our story. So blessings to you all. Have a great week. See ya.
Bye.